Tonight we have breaking news as we come on the air in the West. We have learned tonight Israel taking action against Iran. We'll go to Marcus Moore in just a moment here. Also the new video of the horrific plane crash, a Boeing 787 in the air just seconds, hundreds killed, and the miracle in seat 11A, the lone survivor. The dramatic scene here in the U.S., the senator trying to ask about the immigration raids, handcuffed on the ground, hands behind his back, and the 9-year-old girl attacked by a shark. This new video now emerging of that horrific plane crash, the Boeing 787 crashing just about 30 seconds after takeoff, exploding into a ball of flames with 242 people on board, the tail sticking out of a building. At least 246 people killed, including several victims on the ground. And tonight here, what we've now learned about that sole survivor walking away from the crash. The breaking story here at home tonight, the heated confrontation over President Trump's immigration crackdown.
I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the Secretary.
California Senator Alex Padilla interrupting Homeland Security Secretary Noem. Authorities then wrestling him away, handcuffing him behind his back, face down on the floor. It comes after images of ICE agents chasing farm workers through the fields. We have also just learned tonight a 5th person now dead, the toll rising after flash floods in the U.S. sweeping drivers away in their cars. Also tonight, a man seen clinging to a tree, waiting to be rescued. In New York City tonight, the Harvey Weinstein retrial, the judge declaring a mistrial on the final charge after the jury foreman refuses to resume deliberations, saying he was afraid to go back into that jury room. What we've learned. And tonight here, we remember a well-known actor, from Scarface to Ghostbusters to Clear and Present Danger. We look back.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening. As we come on the air in the West tonight, we do begin with breaking news. We'll get to those stories in a moment. But first, the developing headline at this hour: Israel has launched an attack on Iran. President Trump had told reporters it could very well happen. The warnings for Americans across the region. And ABC's Marcus Moore reporting from Israel tonight.
Tonight, Israel announcing it has launched a military strike against Iran. Smoke seen rising in Tehran in video posted online. A U.S. official tells us the U.S. had no involvement in the attack and didn't provide any assistance. Israel's defense minister declaring a state of emergency, warning he expects Iran to quickly retaliate. The move comes after the State Department ordered non-essential diplomats out of neighboring Iraq. The Pentagon authorized the departure of military families throughout the Middle East.
We have a lot of American people in this area, and I said, we got to tell them to get out because something could happen soon. And I don't want to be the one that didn't give any warning and missiles are flying into their buildings.
Earlier today, the president insisting the U.S. could still strike a diplomatic deal with Iran over its nuclear program, cautioning an Israeli attack could derail those talks.
As long as I think there is an agreement, I don't want them going in because I think that would blow it. Might help it, actually, but it also could blow it.
And just hours before Israel attacked, Trump posting, quote, "We remain committed to a diplomatic resolution to the Iran nuclear issue." And David, again, those strikes are underway tonight. An Israeli military official said that they targeted nuclear facilities and military targets, including commanders. And this just in from the U.S. Secretary of State Marco Rubio saying, quote, "We are not involved in strikes against Iran, and our top priority is protecting American forces in the region." And David, he went on to urge Iran not to target U.S. interests or personnel. David.
Marcus Moore from Israel. Marcus, thank you. In the meantime, we turn to the other major news this evening, the new video of that horrific crash, an Air India passenger jet just moments after taking off from the airport in Western India, bound for London. The first ever crash of a Boeing 787 Dreamliner in the air for only 30 seconds. At least 246 people killed, and tonight the incredible story here of that lone survivor, the miracle in seat 11A. Surveillance video showing the last moments of the flight about 30 seconds after liftoff, seeming to lose power. You can see the plane dropping in the sky, disappearing behind buildings and then exploding into a massive fireball. 242 passengers and crew on board, the plane crashing into a medical college, destroying a dorm and killing several people on the ground as well. Firefighters and rescuers battling those flames, working to untangle the wreckage, trying to recover the bodies inside. The plane breaking up, the tail lodged right into a building. The black boxes are in that part of the plane. They're hoping they unlock some of this mystery. And tonight, what we're learning about that miracle survivor, the man sitting in seat 11A, you can see walking away from the crash, saying he has no idea how he survived this. ABC's chief foreign correspondent Ian Pannell leading us off tonight from London's Gatwick Airport, where that plane was supposed to land.
Tonight, the chilling final moments of flight AI 171. The London-bound Air India jet roaring down the runway. But immediately after takeoff, the plane struggling to climb, appearing to lose engine power, plunging into a residential neighbourhood in Ahmedabad, India, exploding in a massive fireball about 30 seconds after takeoff. Video filmed from a nearby building showing the horror unfolding. The plane, loaded with jet fuel and 242 passengers and crew on board, headed to Gatwick Airport in London. Plumes of thick black smoke billowing from the crash site. Firefighters spraying water on the burning wreckage. The plane slamming into a medical college during lunchtime. You can see the abandoned meals on the tables. Shocking images showing the tail sticking out of a building next to a mangled landing gear. Debris scattered for blocks. At least 246 people killed, including several medical students on the ground, authorities say. And tonight, after police initially said there were no survivors on the plane, Air India making a stunning announcement. One person on board survived. Extraordinary video appears to show the sole survivor, Vishwas Ramesh, limping away minutes after the crash, smoke billowing in the background. He reportedly told local media he doesn't know how he made it out alive. His family here in Britain speaking out tonight, grateful Vishwas survived, but tragically his brother AJ still missing.
When he was on the runway, my dad called him and Vishwas said, "Oh, we're going to take off soon." And then literally like 2 minutes later, he video called my dad. As he crashed, he said, "Oh, our plane's crashed." All of that. I don't know where my brother is. I don't see any other passengers. I don't know how I'm alive, how I exited the plane.
Vishwas reportedly seated in 11A in the emergency exit row. This is the first ever crash of a Boeing 787 Dreamliner, which has had a perfect flying record since entering service in 2011. Tonight, investigators, including the NTSB, poring over those videos, searching for clues.
The 787 is an extraordinarily safe airplane, and so to watch it unable to get airborne raises all sorts of questions. Were both engines operating? Did they lose an engine on takeoff? Or was there something more that caused them to impact the ground just after we're taking off?
David, that flight was supposed to land here at London's Gatwick Airport just a few hours ago. Instead, tonight, families of the victims have been given help and support as they mourn their loved ones. David.
Ian Pannell leading us off tonight from London. Ian, thank you. Back here in the U.S. tonight and to the dramatic confrontation over President Trump's immigration crackdown. California Senator Alex Padilla interrupting Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem during a press conference trying to ask questions about the raids. FBI agents then grabbing the senator, pulling him out of the room, handcuffing him behind his back, pushing him down face down on the floor. After Secretary Noem said she didn't know who the man was, and the senator who has served since 2021, and what he said afterward, growing emotional with his words, asking if this can happen to him, a sitting senator, what's happening to others? Matt Rivers was in that room as this played out.
Tonight, serious questions in Los Angeles and beyond as this scene played out at a press conference on immigration raids with Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem, as California Senator Alex Padilla tries to interrupt and ask questions of Noem.
Hands up, hands up. I'm Senator Alex Padilla. I have questions for the secretary.
You can hear him saying his name as he tried to confront the secretary over ICE arrests of people without criminal records.
Hands up.
But federal agents quickly moving in, blocking the senator as he approached Noem, then grabbing and forcibly removing him from the room.
Hands behind your back.
Officers taking Padilla to the ground.
My hands, go ahead, put them behind my back.
Then handcuffing the senator, hands behind his back, face down on the floor. He was later released.
I think everybody in America would agree that that wasn't appropriate. That if you wanted to have a civil discussion, especially as a leader, a public official, that you would reach out and try to have a conversation.
Secretary Noem later said she didn't know who the senator was. Padilla has been a U.S. senator since 2021, and she is conducting raids in the state where he serves. Late today, the senator appearing shaken before the cameras.
If this is how this administration responds to a senator with a question, if this is how the Department of Homeland Security responds to a senator with a question, you can only imagine what they're doing to farm workers, to cooks, to day laborers out in the Los Angeles community and throughout California and throughout the country.
It all comes after images like these, ICE agents chasing farm workers through strawberry fields. President Trump now saying some of these workers are good workers.
We're not targeting. In fact, if you look today, I put out a statement today about farmers. Our farmers are being hurt badly by, they have very good workers. They've worked for them for 20 years. They're not citizens, but they've turned out to be, great. And we're going to have to do something about that. We can't take farmers and take all their people and send them back.
And late tonight, a U.S. district judge ordering President Trump to return control of California's National Guard to Governor Newsom. The Trump administration already appealing.
Are we just kidnapping him? It's like, oh, you look Mexican? I'm Mexican too. What's up?
Residents in one L.A. neighborhood say they stopped the arrest of this undocumented man by masked agents after they say he was spotted working at a car wash.
It looked like a full-on kidnapping scene out of a movie. It was scary.
Around the country, protesters clashing with police. In Tucson, some throwing objects at police as masked officers fired back with rubber bullets. In Las Vegas, officers dispersing crowds of demonstrators, later claiming they were throwing rocks and water bottles. In Texas, Republican Governor Greg Abbott deploying 5,000 members of the National Guard to help manage protests. But on Capitol Hill today, the Democratic governors of Illinois, Minnesota, and New York condemning the deployment of troops in Los Angeles.
As we speak, an American city has been militarized over the objections of their governor. This is a flagrant abuse of power and nothing short of an assault on our American values.
So let's bring in Matt Rivers. He's live in Los Angeles. Matt, of course, was in that room during this press conference today. And Matt, moving this story forward tonight, we now expect to see hundreds of U.S. Marines sent by President Trump to now join the National Guard across Los Angeles.
Yeah, that's right, David. And that press conference was extraordinary. And tonight we are expecting some 700 Marines to begin deploying onto the streets of Los Angeles. We are expecting more protests, David, even as that overnight curfew downtown remains in place. David.
Matt Rivers live in Los Angeles tonight. Matt, thank you. We're going to turn now to the deadly flooding and the urgent rescues playing out after flash floods swept away drivers in their cars. The death toll is growing tonight. Torrential rain in Texas. We've just learned a fifth person has died in San Antonio after more than 6 inches of rain there overnight. Firefighters making at least 60 high water rescues. One of them, a man found clinging to a tree right there. More than a dozen vehicles washed away. You can see multiple vehicles right there. Rescuers going through each one of them. At least 4 bodies found at that scene right there. Now tonight, flash flood threats stretching from Texas to Tennessee all over again. ABC's Maria Villarreal in San Antonio for us.
Tonight, the death toll rising from devastating floods that inundated parts of Texas overnight. Cars floating downstream in San Antonio. This man clinging to a tree, water raging below. Watch as first responders carefully pull him to safety.
The rain stopped and the water receding revealed absolute devastation. You can see right here the vehicles left behind, heavy vehicles, and the drivers inside, no match for these floodwaters.
Crews checking this vehicle, finding at least one victim inside. San Antonio's fire chief telling me they rescued more than 60 people.
As soon as they got off their vehicles, they started hearing screams across the way, so they knew that they had to work quick, especially with the fast-moving current.
The floods fueled by torrential thunderstorms that dumped more than 6 inches in spots. And outside Houston, at least 2 tornadoes confirmed, one of them packing 100-mile-an-hour winds. Multiple homes in Wharton County damaged.
And David, the power of these floodwaters evident by the damage you see right behind me. The cement from these creek walls literally ripped off and landing in a heap. Tonight, the threat lingers right now for flooding and thunderstorms from Texas all the way to Tennessee. David.
Millions fearing this all over again tonight. Maria, thank you for being there on the scene. We move on to other news now and the dramatic end to Harvey Weinstein's sex crimes retrial here in New York City. The judge today declaring a mistrial on the third and final count of rape after the jury foreman refused to return to deliberate out of concern for his own safety in the jury room. That foreman telling the judge, among other things, another juror was yelling at him, trying to change his mind. The jury had managed 2 unanimous verdicts on sexual assault, convicting him on one count, acquitting him on the other. Tonight, prosecutors pledged to retry Weinstein on the rape charge. And we come back in New York City, multiple NYPD vehicles set on fire. Also remembering a well-known actor from Scarface to Ghostbusters. And then the scare at Boston's Logan Airport, a JetBlue plane right off the runway, and what the pilot said happened in just a moment here. Tonight, a JetBlue flight from Chicago veering off the runway after landing at Boston's Logan Airport, rolling right into the grass. The pilot telling air traffic control the plane had no steering. Passengers evacuating down the stairway. No one was injured. In New York City tonight, police are searching for a suspect accused of setting nearly a dozen police vehicles on fire in Bushwick, Brooklyn. They were in a lot about 2 blocks from the 83rd precinct. Officers say they found several unexploded devices on 3 other cars. When we come back, from Scarface to Ghostbusters II, remembering an actor from Broadway, the movies, and TV. To the end next tonight, actor Harris Yulin has died of cardiac arrest. He starred on Broadway and did more than 100 TV shows and movies, including Scarface, Ghostbusters II, and Clear and Present Danger. He was 87. When we come back tonight, the wife taken up in a plane and what she saw when she looked down. You have to see this. Finally tonight here, America Strong, the farmer and the field, and one surprise for his wife. Tonight in Pratt, Kansas, outside Wichita, one farmer and his act of love for his wife. Look at this. At Blasey Farms, they grow wheat, and second-generation farmer Jesse Blasey had an idea how to surprise his wife, Sarah, for their 20th wedding anniversary. Back in October, he started carefully planting red and white wheat seeds.
This one is a variety called Paradise by Polanski Seed. And then the white wheat's actually 2 varieties, Prolific by Agriplar and Winterhawk by Westbred.
More than 65 million red seeds, more than 255 million white seeds. You might see where this is going. 320 acres covered. And tonight, with that wheat now grown, this is what their farm now looks like from above. The message that farmer grew for his wife, Jesse and Sarah, 20 years. And this is the moment Sarah was taken up in a small plane by a neighbor, a fellow farmer, to show her. And right here tonight,
good evening, David.
Sarah on that message.
To say I was surprised is very much an understatement. Pretty funny to think that was growing there, since last fall.
And tonight, Sarah with her own message on her 20th wedding anniversary.
The farm life is tough sometimes. And so I think Jesse and I try to, when he needs help, I help him. When I need help, he helps me. And we're a team.
And we loved what her husband, Jesse, told our friends at Cake News when asked, what will you do next year?
The problem is I've raised the bar for myself. So this may be the pinnacle of anniversary gifts, so don't want to raise the expectations that I could pull this off again.
Definitely raise the bar. Well, we salute our farmers and happy anniversary, Jesse and Sarah. I'll see you tomorrow. Good night.
Thank you for making World News Tonight with David Muir, America's most watched newscast.